Well, hello there. How is everyone doing? Happy May 1st. Can you believe it that we are already in our fifth month of 2024? It's been incredibly fast. And I feel like as I circle around the sun each year, it just seems to be getting a little bit faster. Wouldn't you agree? Um, Let me introduce myself. Most of you know me, but just in case someone is not familiar with my program, my name is Lewis Maybe. I'm a psychic intuitive medium, and I have been psychic all my life. I've been professionally working in this career for I think 34 years this month, and then 26 years full time. So I've been around the block once or twice. So we have some people saying hi. Let me bring some of them up so I can say hi back to them. And anyone else that would like to say hi, drop a comment. Hi. We have Angela. Hi, Lewis. Happy to be able to see you live today. Thank you, Angela, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Vanessa says hi. Are you getting ready for camping season, Vanessa? Marianne Spellman says good evening, Lewis. Janet says hello. Hello, Janet. How are you? I hope I hear things were warmer today down in Los Angeles. Tammy Cochran saying hello. Lisa Strack is saying hello. And Krista Klassen is saying hi. Tiffany, I know Tiffany. Tiffany says hi and can't believe it's May already. I know, it's crazy. Just to think of when January 1st came around and we're like, thank goodness it's over. And now we're in month 5 of 2024. And I'm like going, where is it going? So Lisa Chrisman says, hi, how are you, Lisa? May, yeah. So because I love Greece and I spend a lot of time in Greece, every first of the month, the Greeks say "kalomina," which means "have a good month, happy month," that sort of thing. Sue is coming in. Hello, Sue. How are you? And there's also Melissa. She's saying hi. How are you? A lot of people are on Facebook today. That's awesome. So a few people are on YouTube, and so that's kind of cool. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how to trust your intuition. And I thought that would be a great topic for people who are interested in learning how to trust their intuition, how to maybe pick up on signals that it's your intuition, and how to make and work with our intuition much stronger. Bruce is saying, bonsoir, mon ami. Bonsoir, Brucey. Brucey. So let's, who here thinks that they work with their intuition? Give a little comment with like, yep, that's me. I work with my intuition, or maybe no, I don't know how to dial into it, don't know how to tap into it, don't know if I can trust it or not. Just give me a little comment so I can see where people are with their own intuition, because we all have intuition. It's just a matter of if we're going to be paying attention to it. And sometimes we pay attention to it when it suits our needs. And sometimes when we don't like what we're picking up on, we try to ignore it and pull it back. So go ahead and make a little comment on if you like to trust your intuition, or if you like to improve more on trusting your intuition. No one's commenting. Come on, people. Work with me. Anyway. So Caroline, yeah, Caroline, people, I think, and I'll give this example now. My best friend Bruce and I, this was years ago, and he may not recall this. I recall this though. We were driving home from a weekend away, and he was driving, and we got behind this car on the 400, and which is a highway series in Canada, Ontario. And we got behind this red car, and I just did not like the energy, because everything has an energy, whether it be living or metal or whatever, everything has an energy. And we were behind this car, and they were doing a fair click, and we were behind them, safely behind them. But I just had this bad vibe about being behind this car. And so, because Bruce, he often likes to call me Spooky Dude. So because Bruce, when I mentioned it, I said, Bruce, can we pass this car? Because I just don't like the vibe of it. He didn't even hesitate. He just went, all right. And he's on it. And we passed, and we went on our merry way. Don't know what happened to it. Don't know if it had an accident like later on. Doesn't matter. It's just that I just knew that I didn't want to be behind this car. So that's one way of just tapping into how your intuition works. Tiffany is saying trusting my intuition when meeting people is definitely something I do all the time. 100%. I mean, most people can get a vibe off of a person within the first 10 seconds. And that even goes with how you greet people. Like they say, you figure out a person with how you're greeted. That's exactly, your intuition just kicks in right away going, all right, engage. All right, no, we're going to pull back a little bit. So Tammy's going, me. I resigned from job, and last shift was yesterday, and moving to BC in 2 months' time. Congratulations, Tammy. That is amazing. And you're right. Angela definitely wants to improve her intuition. Janet is saying, I have moments of intuition occasionally, but have no sense or control over it. That is actually very common. I often call my intuition my spidey sense. When my spidey senses go off, if someone's had a reading with me, and I've often said in readings, my spidey sense is telling me this, or my spidey sense is telling me that. That's what I call my spidey sense. Now, a lot of times, just because of what I do, I just keep talking through it, and it makes sense to the person I'm reading. But sometimes when we get our own bells and whistles going off, we're kind of going, I don't know what this means, but it's something. So, what should I do? And, one of the best things to do is trust yourself. And we're going to cover that in a second. So your inner guidance system is basically your subconscious mind communicating with you through spirit, through the other side, however you want to identify it. And when we get those connections, so it's not always an audible connection, it's not something being said to you or whispered to you. It could be a nudge, it could be a niggle, it could be a, hey, look over there, or hey, pay attention to that. It's different ways of how to tuning in. When you're tuning in, though, and this is where a lot of people get stuck, is they start to analyze it, and they start to look at it in a way so it makes sense to them. When you're able to let the energy flow and exist and don't put parameters on it, sometimes it may not be up to you to have the answer. Maybe it's just up to you to notice it so that you're conscious of it, or conscious of a situation or event where all of a sudden it's like a deja vu kind of thing. You're like, wait a second, I feel like I've been through this, done this, or heard this before. All right, I'm connecting. And so therefore your unhealthy ego isn't being in action, and your healthy ego is like saying, thank you, got it, very much so. Other things that people call their intuition are gut feelings, sudden insights, knowing without any evidence. I knew that was going to happen. Mind's spidey senses. And also, like, there's some misconceptions about why the intuition is not irrational. It's a valuable tool for decision making. And there's a couple of examples I want to go over with you about when trusting your intuition works out, but yet you don't know why you're making the decision. You just know that the decision that you're making feels good, feels right, feels powerful. Oftentimes there's career choices where someone is faced with two jobs that seems equally promising on paper. They're lining up and they're like, neck to neck kind of thing. One offers a higher salary while the other provides more flexibility with your schedule. Despite logical pros and cons, because we often tend to go after money. We often tend to go after the bigger paycheck, cost of living, inflation, all that kind of good stuff. But yet the intuition is pulling you more towards the job with a flexible schedule. And then later on, you discover that the higher paying job would require longer working hours and a minimal work-life balance, confirming that when you went after the job with flexibility, it gave you more of a fulfilling opportunity to have that work-life balance, to enjoy life more and all that kind of good stuff. Another one that seems to happen a lot, quite a lot actually, and that's in relationships and picking partners or picking prospective partners. And you meet someone new and everything seems perfect on the surface. However, there's a little nagging feeling in your gut, and just something's not sitting right. But despite them being charming and they're saying everything right that you want to hear, your intuition just saying proceed with caution. If you decide to listen to that inner voice that's saying, wait a second, just slow down a little bit, you will uncover red flags, or you will start to uncover red flags, which is validating your internal intuition. And that's saving you from a potential heartache down the road. I always say in my readings with people, nice guy, but if there's a but, move on. The but is always right. And again, he or she could be fantastic on paper and is blowing sunshine up your wahoo and is complimenting you and all that sort of thing. But are they able to talk the talk and walk the walk? Are they going to show up? Are they going to be willing to participate in cultivating and growing a healthy, positive relationship? And if they're stalling or hesitating, forget about it. Move on. So how do we tune into our intuition? First of all, I think one of the biggest things for me is to cultivate my self-awareness. Encourage mindfulness practices such as meditation, journaling, introspection. I love being able to spend time just with myself. And it's a time for me to, because many of you who know me, I always say I'm never alone. There's always talking going on up here, and they're not just my voices. And but so I never feel like lonely per se. But when I'm able to check out so I can check in, that's fueling my tank. That's allowing me to navigate life's ups and downs and bends and turns and all that sort of thing. And it's really making me aware of my own connection to myself and my own connection to the universe. Which also kind of leads into the next point of listening to your body. I often sometimes, so when I do my mediumship work, oftentimes when I'm talking to a male member of a family that someone's passed away, oftentimes my left side will start to either get warm, it'll start to buzz, the energy right here starts to buzz or vibrate. And if there's a female side of the family, the right side will start to buzz or get warm or, get to tinglies. And so has anyone has discovered, like, when something is about to go or go down, that, you get an elbow ache, or that, sometimes you call it, oh, it's going to rain because my knees are hurting, those kinds of symbols and body warnings kind of thing. Anyone? Anyone? And so when you're tapping into that and you see the repetition in the, sore knee, whatever the case may be, pay attention to what you're thinking, what you might be doing, what you might be working through if you're stressed out about a subject. These are often signals for you to start trusting your intuition. And it's kind of like getting out of the chatter, getting out of your head and getting into your heart. And that leads into the feelings. Like when you just know something's wrong, it is. It doesn't need to be 100% wrong. It just needs to be wrong, or it could even be right. If something feels right and yet it doesn't make sense, it's not logical, investigate it more. Slowly, just tap into it. As long as the feeling is still there as you move and progress slowly, and it's not changing or it's not getting muddied or clouded. And that's often what happens is we get muddy and cloudy because we want to analyze, we want to make it make sense, we want our egos to come in and play with it. But when you come from the heart source and you just allow the sensation of honoring my emotions, my instincts, how am I feeling about this? Is this still giving me light and joy and happiness, or is this making me heavy, or is this making me stressed? And if it's the negatives, then it's time to step back and say, listen, I need to breathe. And when we're able to breathe, we go back to cultivating self-awareness and mindfulness. And that is the key for trusting your intuition, is always coming back to mindfulness, stillness. Do some journaling, do some meditation. If you can't sit down, cross your legs and go, then go for a walk. You probably are an active meditator, which means that you have to be in motion. When I am restless and my mind doesn't settle down or doesn't want to settle down, I'll go for a walk and I play a game. I look into people's front windows and I critique their living room choices. And I just keep walking, and that's all I focus on is just, oh, I don't like the color red. Or that's a really cool, whatever. Or my goodness, do they need a 90-inch TV, Bruce? So that's a way of just getting out of the thoughts, out of the daily rudders and rigmaroles, and just able to clear your space so that when you come back to the initial question or the concept, you'll have a better understanding of honoring your intuition. So that is really, really cool. Also known as patterns. When we understand patterns, and if that often happens like in numbers. So like when people have said, oh, I always see 111 or I always see 1111 or 1313, those are patterns. And so always tap into, and not just for numbers, it's patterns in general. You happen to notice the garbage truck every Thursday morning at 7 a.m., but yet you're in the back of the house and it's in the front of the house. There's these patterns that you can identify of being able to reflect on the themes of what either you're doing or what you're going through at the time. And then trust timing. There's two types of timing. There's human earth timing, and then there's universal timing. And we are probably never, at least 90% of the time, in sync with universal timing. That is divine timing. And we as humans are never patient on that level. And so sometimes when we think something should happen by such and such a date and it doesn't, we get discouraged, and then we start not trusting ourselves. Don't worry, something's going to happen. You're going to find the answer. You're going to be able to explore more options or whatever the case may be. But sometimes, most times, our synchronicity with when it actually is supposed to happen versus when we want it to happen aren't in sync. So how can we strengthen our intuition? There's intuitive exercises you can do. And no, you're not going to have to worry about lifting a dumbbell and breaking a sweat. Journaling is a very powerful way to get your instincts going and trusting your intuition. Um, ot- Oftentimes when I journal, honestly, it's almost daily when I journal. I will give it. I give a space on my journal for the day of I am grateful for, and then fill in what I'm grateful for that day, and then I am thankful for, and what am I thankful for in that day. And those are not only helping me be present and self-aware, but it's also allowing me to align myself with my goals that are set not only from my human experience, but from the realms of your soul experience. And so when you're able to start connecting the soul and the human, you're tapping into what your soul has written out for you to accomplish in life and to learn in life. So that's one powerful way, is to do intuitive journaling. Another one is sometimes intuitive drawing. I can't even draw straight figures. So I mean, for me, drawing is doodling, and doodling is just messy. But for people that, and maybe that's what works for you. I know Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium. He scribbles as he talks to. That's how he connects with spirit. So it's whatever really works with you. I think, Caroline, you might be good at drawing, because you're a pretty good artiste. Or guided visualization. One of the best ways to help with your intuition is get out of your head, get into your heart, clear your mind, and then visualize. It's kind of like when you want to manifest something. You want to manifest going to London or going on a cruise this fall, and you want to, like, where do you want to go? Where do you want your cruise to go? You're manifesting it. So a guided meditation with your intuition is more so about allowing what needs to be said, and said doesn't mean audible said, but just said from the universe to you, and just sitting in that visualization of energy. And if it's light that comes to you and you're drawing pink, then just work with it. Don't try to manipulate the blue, or don't try to figure out why is there pink showing up. Just visualize just visualize it, and then write it down. So engage in nature. We need to connect more with Mother Earth more than ever these days. Nature amplifies intuitive abilities, plain and simple. Go hug a tree, go dip your toe in water in a lake or an ocean if you're close by. Mow your grass, come over, mow my grass. I'll bring you some tea. And then develop trust in yourself. Encourage yourself to take small risks, and observe how your intuition responds to these small risks. It's kind of like the only way to grow your comfort zone is to get uncomfortable. And therefore, when you become uncomfortable, you're stretching yourself, you're expanding your horizons and your limits, and then all of a sudden it feels comfortable. And so that's another way of developing your trust, is to do all the things possible for you to dive into with your intuition, and let it strengthen and let it be stronger. What I was going to say, I forgot. That's okay. I don't have to worry about it. So I hope that's helping you out a little bit. I also wanted to do some things with you about what not to do, because what not to do is like a little bit more obvious to people, because we've typically done them, you know, and I'm guilty of this as well, and so some of the crucial approaches to intuition with reception and open mindset is not trying to force and manipulate your intuition. Um, Ignore your feelings. When you suppress or dismiss your emotions, it can block your intuition, because the universe is saying, here you go, this is what you want. And all of a sudden you're like going, no, I can't deal with that. I can't handle that. Well, the universe is going to say, fine. And they take it away because they don't want you stressed or upset. But then you get upset because you're no longer feeling the connection. And so instead, I want you to do is to acknowledge and honor your feelings, um, even if they seem inconvenient or uncomfortable. Oftentimes, like I said before, to grow your comfort zone, you got to get uncomfortable. Trusting your intuition is also like training a muscle. The more you work with it, the better trained it is. But if you're going to force it, but you can't pick up a 600-pound dumbbell right away. You got to start small and work your way up. But if you want to go after the granddaddy of things first, it ain't going to happen. And the universe is going to say, all right, backing away now, So another thing is about overanalyzing. Who here is an overanalyzer? If you're brave enough to put a comment in there that I overanalyze everything and anything, who can freely and openly admit that they are an overanalyzer? Let's see. I know there's someone in here that is one. I just know it. I'm psychic. So who's brave enough? Who is brave enough to admit that they overanalyze? Anyway, so overanalyzing is one of the enemies. And if you try to avoid overthinking and overanalyzing every intuitional signal, trust your intuition, how it operates beyond logical reasoning, and sometimes works in mysterious ways. That's just how intuition is supposed to be. It's supposed to work in mysterious ways because we don't need it to make sense for us. We just need to understand and embrace it. And when we use those simple tools of just understanding and embracing it, it will just work with us more and more and more. And the synchronicity of maybe what it means, or maybe look out for those kinds of things, you'll be like, okay, thank you. And you won't even question it. You'll just automatically go, noted, got it, let's do it. And so that's one thing about overanalyzing. Please try not to do that. Another one is seeking external validation. And this isn't just with your intuition. This is like in general, specifically for intuition, but yet it's more rounded. When you rely too much on others' opinions or seeking constant validation, it can cloud your intuitional judgment. Learn to trust your inner wisdom without constantly seeking approval from others. It's just something where it's like, my thoughts on external validation, it doesn't matter. Your opinion of me doesn't matter. I know who I am. I know my strengths. I probably know my weaknesses too. Do I want to admit my weaknesses all the time? No. But I know they're there, and I know what they are. And I try not to trigger my weaknesses. And so when I'm looking for external validation, I dim my light. I darken my intuition. But when I know that I'm true to myself, and it's not about pep talks. Go ahead, give yourself pep talk. They're brilliant. They're beautiful. I love them. But it's not about the pep talk. It's more so about, all right, I need to connect to myself in order to connect to divine. So now next one is a big one that I see very often in readings. People that try to force outcomes. Especially with relationships. I'm going to make it work, damn it. So when you try to manipulate situations or force outcomes based on what you think, rather than tapping into the actual intuition, the red flags, the not showing up but talking the talk kind of thing, it's going to lead you to disappointment. It may not be tomorrow about the disappointment. It might take you years. It might even take you decades. But it will lead you to disappointment because you're not trusting, and you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. It's simply not going to fit. You can fake it till you make it, but it will still be fake. It will not be authentic. And so trust that the universe has its own timing, divine timing, and surrender to the flow of life. And breathe. I love that. Surrender to the flow of life. I just absolutely love that. Wow. I just gave myself a little aha moment. um, here's another big one: neglecting self-care. Neglecting your physical, emotional, mental well-being can dampen your intuitive abilities. Make self-care a priority by getting enough rest, eating nourishing foods, engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation. We often tend to get behind the wheel and we just start moving, and we often find ourselves to not be participating in life in a more balanced way. And so when we go back to the art of practicing self-care, self-awareness happens, and then we are able to trust our intuition better. I had a conversation the other day actually about the next one. And this is about perfection. And someone who is a friend of mine who, through past experiences and connections and life happenings, found herself to be having to take on a lot of unnecessary burden early in life. And so therefore everyone began to rely on her. And so, and unfortunately, some of those people were not nice people, and they would kick her, not maybe physically, but they would kick her when she wouldn't perform to their standards. And she has a hard time of letting go of perfection, because she often equates perfection. If she's not perfect, then she's not producing, she's not having those meaningful friendships and connections. And you know, I embrace the fact that I'm perfectly imperfect, and if I stumble, I stumble. I mean, you've seen me lie before. You see me, fumble. I mean, that's me. That's just me. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be me and the best version of me. So when you're dealing with perfectionism, it's going to bite you in the butt. And that's the same thing with intuition. Your intuition is not always 100% accurate, nor does it need to be. Messages can be subtle and they're subject to interpretation. Embrace the learning process. Sometimes after a while, like here's another one with me growing up, is when I first started to realize that I was seeing things other people couldn't see. Because when I was young, I thought everyone could see dead people. No, I never questioned it. I just assumed. I was very naive, and I just assumed everyone could see dead people or people that weren't physically here. Anyway, when I was starting to experience that, how it so when so let me back this up, because see, I'm perfectly imperfect. So when someone was going to die, and this didn't happen often when I was young, but I come from a very large family, and my aunts and uncles were starting to get into that bright age bracket of passing. So whenever someone was going to pass away, I would see them in my head, and all of a sudden their face would melt like wax. And I think I was like 6 and 7, like around that time, and they just melt. Their face would melt off, and all be left was a skull. And I'm like, what? That, as a 6-year-old, scared me. And I don't know. I don't know why I said this, or I don't know why I even thought of it this way. And I'm going to be paraphrasing a bit because my 6-year-old speech isn't my speech now. But I basically said to whomever, I said, if you want me to see this happening, you've got to show it to me in a less fearful way. And so now, even to this day, if I come in contact with someone that is really close to their passing, there is green smog over their head. And the denser the green is, the closer they are to their passing. So I can kind of, like, I know a lot of nurses that, especially in palliative care or hospice care, that they will look at the residents' feet, and they will be able to say, yeah, so and so might have 6 more hours, or they might be passing before midnight tonight, kind of thing. So I kind of like have that a little bit like same awareness of, oh, I'm going to be hearing about you, or I'll read about you, a few days from now, kind of thing. So I don't know how that connects with perfect, but that's just a little insight. Anyway, I actually think this actually connects more with what my last statement is going to be about, is about neglecting your intuition. Don't neglect it. Don't disregard it. If you have it and you're using it, then allow it to be used. But stand back and allow yourself to be, in the comfort of knowing that you don't need to know all the answers, but yet you're able to have this intuition work with you, not against you. It's kind of like a fine wine. You got to let it breathe before you drink it. So let it breathe, and you let it get the aroma, full flavored, bodied, and then enjoy it. So yeah, that's my little spiel on trusting your intuition. Does anyone have any questions about that? Let me see some questions, and then we're going to do some hot topic questions. Everyone's good? Cool. I like it. And if you have any questions about what we just talked about, trusting your intuition, any stories about intuition, please make a comment. Just an FYI, comments always helps the algorithm. So when I have more comments in my feeds, Facebook and YouTube and wherever else it's being streamed to sees there's lots of engagement, and they will push our content up to the top so that more people can see it that may not be connected yet. So show me some love, make a comment, say hi again, tell me it's your birthday, sing a song for me, just do any kind of comment. I'm very transparent here. I'm not shameful of being transparent. So all right. So no one's commenting. That's okay. I bet you're going to start doing it now. Does anyone have any questions? Any psychic questions? Doesn't need to be about a reading. It can be anything about psychic. There's going to be some, I know there's going to be some action and activity here. Am I not? Oh my God. I am so sorry. You guys have been commenting. It's been stuck. Oh my God. It's been stuck. Ah, that's funny. Okay. So sorry. Oh my God. Oh, there's Pat. Hey, Patty. Carolyn says, thank you. Oh, that's about her comment about, oh my God, that is so funny. My conversation has been stuck. You guys have been commenting, but it has not been scrolling. I am so sorry, but thank you everyone for doing this. Trusting the process and breathing. Oops, that was from Tammy, or sorry, Tiffany. Angela. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, thanks, Angela. Red Rover says hi. Kathleen City says hi. Hi, Kathleen. Tiffany overanalyzes everything. Marianne overanalyzes anything. Lorianne overanalyzes. I get it. Red Rover analyzes everything. Bruce, absolutely. Absolutely overthink Caroline. Kathy S, overanalyzer and a thinker. I get it. Lisa, me. Not that I, Red Rover, not that I Not that I do not do. I am comfortable with who I am and what I am about. That is amazing. We should all be comfortable. We should all be comfortable in our skin. There's always room for improvement, but it's not about the destination because we know what the destination is. It's about the journey. And it's very much about stopping and smell those roses. That's why there is that saying, because you can be walking past, yeah, those roses, the bad guy go over there. Stop and smell them. You'll enjoy life more. Tiffany says, surrender to the experience. My husband always says it's a transference of energy. Your husband is right, Bruce. That's nice, Lewis. Love that line. Tammy says, hello. Hello, Tammy. Krista, anytime I ignore my intuition, something bad has happened. So don't ignore it, people. Right on, Krista. Caroline, does intuition ever get clouded by fate? Example, marrying the wrong person. That's a really good question. It depends on the situation and it depends on the connection. So we often take our vows when we decide to get married very seriously, and there's that whole semi-sentence of till death do us part. And, that's a very big statement. That's a human statement. And sometimes you're meant to be married to a person because of perhaps having children with them, learning a lesson. We all have expiry dates. Some expiry dates, like my grandparents, 74 years, and that's only because my grandfather passed away. And they've been married since my grandma was 16, because back then you only had to have signed signature from your parent, and he was a few years older than her. And 74 years later, I remember them still calling them babe and love, and 8 children later, but other times it's because you're supposed to procreate. And now that you've done your job and your family is up and running, your contract with your partner is ended, but yet we keep pushing the boulder forward sometimes. Again, listen to the niggle. If it's not feeling good, it's not good. And so if you can't fix it through counseling or through any type of therapy or communication, then it's time to move forward. So, Lorianne, I sense people's light and darkness in their souls. Is that intuitive? 100%. Oh, there are people. There are certain people, and so people have heard the eyes are the window to the soul. That is 1,000,000% accurate, because I will look at someone and the first thing I look at, it's not their features, it's not how built they are or whatever, it's their eyes. And if I don't like their eyes, I will be polite, but it'll be short and sweet, and I am off to the side or out of that energy area. So yes, it is definitely intuitive when you start picking up on people, because sometimes, social media, we all have well, not all, but a lot of people have a social media persona, and they're like, look at me, I'm famous and fabulous, but yet they're the loneliest, cut off people in the world sometimes. And so if you're picking up how the loneliness out of this person that's looking to be vibrant, that's your intuition kicking in. Trish says, I have intuition. My grandson is seeing my mother. No one believes me, but I have a feeling he's talking to her, and his name is Rupert. Yeah, because your mother loves playing, like loves babies, not babies as in just babies like this, but young children. And she is like, hee, look at hoo, like she's getting Rupert's attention like crazy. And he's constantly going, and when he does this and he's watching TV, anyone with small children, even teenage children, when they break their stare at the screen, like maybe their TV screen or their mobile, whatever, and they go like this, they're seeing something. Is there something you can do to make your intuition stronger? Yeah. And, one of the things, like, again, the biggest thing to make your intuition stronger is trust yourself. Just trust the process. You don't need to have the answers. um, it's all about the synchronicity of receiving the message and allowing the message to, receiving the message is planting the seed and allowing the message to germinate and to grow. So yeah. Nikki, Nikki, thank you. You've had a couple of readings with me. Yes, you have. Dreams of past boyfriend lately. Always interesting. Guessing they are coming in to say hello. Boyfriend, past boyfriend. To me, no. No, Tammy. So I want you to take a little bit step back from the dream, honor the dream about the boyfriends, but there seems to be some sort of pattern that you're revisiting in your current situation. Maybe not current relationship, but just a current situation about what kind of personality or what kind of treatment the past boyfriend was about. So there's something that's in your current that you're either going through or going to be going through in a very short period of time, that this is your like, heads up, this is a review. Did you learn your lesson? So Kathy, I was wondering if an acquaintance was still alive, but I got a message. No, she's gone. And she was. Why is it so random but doesn't actually come through when I specifically ask it? Thank goodness it comes in randomly, because when it's random and you're like, thank you, just simple thank you, it will become less random and more often. So it's working with you right now, and meaning the universe is testing you. So the more that you stop, or the more that you continue to not pay attention to it and just allow it to come in, the stronger it's going to get, and the more frequent that it will become for you. So I remember a reading party you did, and a person didn't like the reading at all and said it was generic. I remember knowing that there was nothing there to read because she isn't long for this world. She died 2 weeks later. And sometimes, I think that's happened to me actually more times than you might think, where I see someone who's not long for this world, and yet they're sitting in front of me, and I'm like, okay, how do I navigate this? I still want them to feel fulfilled, obviously, but I try to get them to focus on living in the moment with every breath. So without notifying them, because that's not my job, I am not the delivery person. Well, I'm a messenger. I'm not a delivery person. So, but thank you for that feedback, Tiffany. Lorraine, replying to Lorraine, I meant souls. Oh, okay. Geez, you guys have been doing a lot. Oh my God, I am so sorry. This stupid thing is not scrolling for me. Wow. Tammy, the quieter I am, the more I feel my loved ones around. 100%. When you are tuning in to tune in, tuning out to tune in, that's when you find the most magnificent of energy to embrace. Red Rover says, yes, the journey is wonderful if you enjoy those moments along the path. That's Stop and Smell the Roses. Judy is saying, I have a Cleo hair floating around me, Cleo, my cat. Years ago, I was pregnant and knew the baby was dead, carried 6 months, with 2 months dead. I always wondered what the gender was. Boy. I'm also picking up that this little one wants to thank you, Judy, for doing this for his soul, because he was never meant to be born, but yet he wanted to experience what it was like to have life without breathing. And so his mission was accomplished, even though you weren't able to birth him alive. But he does want to say thank you for allowing him his full life, even if it was that short. So your eyes are beautiful, Bonnie. What are you talking about? They're gorgeous. I can't handle certain people's eyes. I know. I have an acquaintance through someone else. So when I say acquaintance, I mean like back of the line acquaintance. And every time, and it's not often, but every time that I am in the same vicinity as him, I just feel like this emptiness around him, and his eyes are dead brown. There's you can't they're not black, but you really can't tell between the pupil and the brownness because the brown is so dark, and there's no flecks of gold or purple or anything else like that. They're just a solid brown, and that's Cleo. She wants some attention. Um, so I always find that he's always an uncomfortable energy to be around for me because it's like he's not giving off energy, nor is he wanting energy. It's just like people always give and take energy all the time. His is stagnant for some reason. It's just a really odd feeling. So Peggy says, how close is our intuition compared to superstition or old wives' tale? Most times, old wives' tales comes from intuition because enough, back then we didn't have newspapers; we had stories to tell, and so when we pass on our stories from generation to generation, they stick. Because when something specific I see or someone does it reminds me of someone, or I can already know what the outcome. So many things that happen around me, some old outcomes, same old, some right, exactly. Yeah, that's because your energy, Peggy, is very much about forecasting, and so you're you're able in your mind to forecast situations even though you may not know the outcome. So when those situations, kind of like deja vus, when those situations come to light, you're like going, oh, okay, I know how this is going to go. So that's where that's coming from. um Melissa, how do you know if someone who's passed is visiting you in a dream or if it's simply just a dream? So my personal experience in doing this professionally and connecting to thousands of spirits in my career, 99.9% of the time, it is that passed on loved one that's connecting with you. That is the easiest way for them to connect with you and not frighten you, scare you, alarm you, or make you shut down. So it's something that you're able to do while you're sleeping. Because when you're sleeping, your unconscious, your third eye is opened up even wider, and so you're able to receive messages without prejudice. And that's when you're gonna get visits from your loved ones, especially when you're sleeping. So I know those darkened eyed people, they scare me too. And even when I see this person I'm referring to on social media and he's taking a selfie, I'm like, okay, yeah. So Peggy's responding to her former question. Yes, deja vu, appreciate you, thank you so much. Any other questions that you have? I might have scrolled through some of them because, like I said, I did not see this silly thing was not scrolling automatically for me. So I am now watching. Oh no, maybe it's moving. Now it's going to call me a liar. Tiffany goes, piercing blue eyes. I've always joked to my husband that they're demonic. Well, he could have a little devil in him. So piercing blue eyes, excuse me, they could work both ways for me. So when I see someone with piercing blue eyes, the very next thing that I do and is to tap into their connection, their soul. If I feel like that these beautiful piercing blue eyes, and yet I don't feel the connection with the soul, then I often tend to proceed with caution. When they have piercing blue eyes and they have open heart, I want to call them mommy or daddy. Um, it's a really interesting thing with people with blue eyes. It's kind of like you either hate them or you love them, that sort of thing. So, um, Nikki says, I dream of my mom and sometimes she talks to me and other times she is just sitting on a bench and we are just sitting quiet. I love those dreams. I used to have those dreams all the time about my grandpa maybe. I dreamt of a man and we had a great connection. Is that just a dream or a premonition? I know it's a premonition, but don't focus on, like, if you saw details about the man, like blue eyes, brown hair, solid build. Don't focus on the description. Focus on the connection. But yeah, one of the best ways I love to, when I do connect with my past loved ones, I just love to be in silence with them. I know they're fine. I know they're better than fine. I know they're great. I just rather just spend time in their energy. And even with when my great grandmother Bartley was alive, I was very fortunate when I was born to have, I think I counted 9 grand sets of grandparents. So I had my 4 grandparents, and I had 4 other great grandparents, not couples, but just, and then I had 1 great great grandfather, Grandpa Winters. I think Peggy and Vanessa, if Vanessa's still here, will know. And we were supposed to get pictures taken with Grandpa Winters, and he was very old at the time, and he was in a nursing home, and this would be 5 generations of maybe boys, men, and we went. This is the story I was told. I was 2 months old, so we went to the home that he was living in, and they either got the date wrong or they got the time wrong. Anyway, he wasn't dressed. So unfortunately, we didn't get pictures with him, but we did get pictures of 4 generations. And I was, like I said, like 2-ish years old. So yeah. Kathy, why hasn't my dad visited in a dream yet? It's not because he can't visit you. It's because, I know this is going to sound really weird. How do I say this? You don't need him right now. And I know that might sound weird because he's your father and you want the connection. Just know he is always around you, but he's not in the physical presence of being able to tap you, notify you, whisper in your ear, or feeling chills on your neck. He's just not that type of spirit. But I am telling you, he is always around you. And I think this is what I want you to do, is an experiment of trusting that he is there. And when you build that trust that he is there and always there, and he's never faltering with being away from you, you can probably are going to get some sort of message from him once and for all. Thank you, Trish. I appreciate that. I don't even know where I always come on and I'm going, what am I going to talk about? And so if anyone has any ideas of what they would like future topics to be, please make comments. I will see them now. But yeah, if you have a topic that you want me to unwrap, then throw it in the comments and I'll write it down. Marianne, where will I be moving to? Northwest of you. It's not far away, but Marianne, it feels to me like you're going to be having actually 2 moves. The next move is temporary, even though it might feel like it's not temporary. It turns out to be temporary, but I don't mean temporary by a couple months. I just mean temporary. And then the next move is going to be a longer term kind of move, where you get set up properly and you'll really dig into your healing and your recuperation. So Lisa, if because I know this connection, Lisa is Lisa's my cousin and Peggy's my aunt, and Lisa and Peggy are daughter and mother. So I just thought that's kind of cute. Angela, I keep getting someone blowing on my face whilst in bed. Well, I hope they give you a cigarette afterwards, Angela. Blowing in your face after. That sounded more naughty than what I actually meant it to be. Sorry. I just kind of redid that. It wasn't meant to be that naughty. Okay, Angela, you need to ground yourself because you're inviting. They're not bad spirit. They're not malevolent. They're not mean. They're not even slightly mischievous. But it's your energy is like a lighthouse, and it attracts spirit that is wandering around, and so they're like, oh, what's she about? And so they're coming to look at you, and it's not just one, but it's interesting that they all chose to have this breeze on your face. So I want you to kind of like get into a habit of, before you go to bed, to offer yourself protection by the divine, and to have restful, peaceful sleeps, even though this might be happening before sleep, but and also just make sure that only the wanted is around you. So Krista says, I dreamt of a man who just looked and smiled at me. I got the impression of a soulmate or something. He's definitely in your soul tribe, Krista. Yeah, he's definitely someone that did decide not to come down this life, decided to stay over there, and is patiently waiting for you to reunite there. So, yeah. When Nikki says, when my mom is sitting on a bench in my dream, I am usually frantic, late for something like flight or something. And when I see her, I just sit down beside her and we don't speak. I think it's her way to tell me to slow down and just be 100%. I mean, Nikki, your energy is just screaming like, I have 10,000 million things to do and I'm behind all of them. And so again, this is about focusing on being present, focus on mindfulness, self-awareness, self-care. And because, your mother was someone that took care of everyone else, and she doesn't want you ending up the way that she ended up, with taking care of everyone and forgetting about her. So Kathy says, thank you. Future topics may have done already. Reincarnation. I can do that. Marianne, thank you about the move. You're welcome, Marianne. Topic, where the world is going. How long do you need? People moving into new earth, changes of this earth, we will see. Yeah, like there's a lot of new souls being born, like a ton of new souls being born. The sky's falling. The apocalypse is going to happen in 2027. Pfft, whatever. That's a good one. I'm going to write that down. Tiffany, I have friends who is going through a lot at home and is the process of separation in desperate need of insight on what she should do as she's stuck and has nowhere to go. I have a friend who is going through a lot at home in the process of separation. Okay, so first of all, separate. There's too much confusion going on while still mingling and mangling things together. Separate. Get that door closed so that she can get perspective on the rest of her life and then go from there. So she's a lingerer. You need to kick her butt and get her out yesterday. And then you're going to start to see, or she's going to start to see, oh my God, I'm breathing. It's okay. But until then, she's going to be drowning all the time. She's going to feel like she's drowning. Caroline, this may sound irrelevant, but I misplaced my wallet over a week ago and I cannot stop looking, wondering, what is this all about? Is it my home? It's making me restless. Unfortunately, Caroline, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, shit happens. I don't see any meaning, message behind it. I just feel like it's been misplaced. Please don't, easy for me to say, please don't stress over it. Obviously do your due diligence, cancel your credit cards, blah, blah, blah. But I really feel like this is just one of those situations where it's like shit happened, and unfortunately it happened to you. Nikki, I've been going through some health issues lately and reevaluating my life, relationships, career, just everything. I sort of feel lost on which direction to go. Nikki, I really encourage you to stand still right now. I don't want you making any decision whatsoever. I want you to drop the hot potatoes that you're juggling, and I really want you to just stand still. I want you to breathe. I want you to focus on you. I want you to focus on filling your gas tank up. If someone needs a glass of water, tell them to get it themselves. You have to stop. You have to stop. And it's affecting your health, and you're going to get laid out. Like, you're going to get laid out if you don't stop, because this is, so the universe works in this way, and I call it the 3 strikes rule. So when you're on your path and your spirit guides and the universe is happy with you, they're sitting back and they're having their pina colada. But as soon as you start to stray from the plan that your soul made, they'll tap you, they'll nudge you, strike 1. You go, what? And you keep going in the different direction. So a little bit later, strike 2 happens where they go, poof, and they're like, hey, pay attention. You're going way off the track. You're getting lost. And you're like, yeah, I got it. No, whatever. 3rd strike, you're out. You'll likely end up in the hospital. You will absolutely will not be able to do anything except for breathing and recuperating. You have had your 2nd strike. You are close to 3 strikes. Please stop and drop everything that you're juggling, especially for other people. And I'm being told to be serious and to get in your face, because you're this close. You need to breathe. Please appreciate yourself more, and do not advance go. Do not collect 200, because that's going to land you in the infirmary. I need you to. All right. Krista, you're good. Future talks from Lisa, energy and healing. Absolutely. Angela says, thank you. Topic. Can we talk about different dimensions? Sorry if it's been covered. No, it has been covered. It's new to this. I'm new to this channel in Scotland. Oh, thank you so much, Angela. 205. You and I wonder if another Angela is from New Zealand. So I don't know. So thank you. Thank you so much. Kathleen, my 15-year-old stepson has verbally threatened me, and my 31-year-old son hasn't talked to me in months. What is happening? Remove yourself from the situation. It might be a little bit challenging with your 15-year-old son, but your 15-year-old unfortunately has mental health issues and doesn't feel the need to identify those mental health issues and is crying out for help. Yet when you offer the help, he refuses. And it's a very tough situation. And I feel like, if anything, you get into counseling, you get into therapy, because you need to set yourself up better to be able to engage with life and have healthy connections. And if your 31-year-old son does not want to talk to you, that's on him. That's not on you. It takes 2 to tango. And if you're blaming yourself for everything, and you're blaming yourself because you have 2 children that are alike on many levels, there might be a little bit of DNA in it, but it's also their choices. They're not 6 years old. Your 15-year-old thinks he's 31. Your 31 thinks he's God's gift to everything. Just ask him. Kathleen, please have the therapy for yourself. And that's going to help you with giving yourself better tools to understand and calculate life. Kristen says, love you too, Kristen. There's Angela. Fantastic live, Lewis. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Leslie. Oh my God, Leslie. I haven't seen you in a while. I've shared my many wonderful experiences with you with my stepdaughter who is autistic. She said she would like a session, which I will book, but wants me with her. Would my being there change her reading? Nope. I can be in a room of 500,000 people, and when I tune in, I tune in. And I mean, I always have thousands of voices in my head anyway, so it's not like So there is oftentimes I will have someone sitting beside the person I'm reading, whether it be for cheerleading, whether it be for support, whether it be just to make sure that the topics that they wanted to cover are covered. Because sometimes, especially when people are new to me, they leave overwhelmed because there's so much information that I just gave them that it's hard to download and process. And that's also why I tape the session and send it to you later so you can process it. So you're welcome, Nikki. You're very welcome. Love the topic, Donna says. I can relate to this. Thank you, Donna. Thanks for tuning in. And Krista says, wow. All right. Well, it is time for me to go. I have really appreciated everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I love it. I actually kind of I think Wednesdays are actually going to work out better than my Thursday time slot that I was trying out before. So thanks for all tuning in. Bless every single one of you. Tap into your intuition. Trust the experience. Let everything flow. And I will see you very soon. Bye for now. And if you want to book a reading, lewismaybe.com. I always forget to put these up. Book a session. There you go. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, Lewis Maybe, and on Facebook, Lewis Maybe Spiritual. Get involved, get in the conversation.